welcome to Metallarium Page. Welcome to Metallarium Pages, Kenny. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about H.E.A.T, this new album, Welcome to the Future, and more things related to the general one, the heavy metal and hard work in general. So we are starting by asking, how are you doing today? How did the last band do in the last couple of years? Because your previous album was released 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
I mean, I'm great. I'm better than I deserve. No, but it's been a lot of work, a lot of touring, a lot of playing, a lot of recording. But it's I'm living my dream basically. How can I say this? It's I think it's every young man's dream, and I'm living it right now. So I am very fortunate and very happy.
Okay. So now this Welcome to the Future came from 3 years of difference from the previous album, First Measure. So and this one, so how many things changed in the composition process compared to the previous album with this new one?
I don't think that we changed that much in terms of like how we approached making music. We are still making music the same way. We got a couple of guys writing some songs individually, uh, and some songs we put together. Like as a group, whether it's a two of us or three of us. But we write all the music, and we still do it old school. With a guitar, with keyboards or whatever it is. We still work on the music very traditionally, recorded in a sort of a software program, just like everyone does now. We create our demos, and sometimes, it'll just be a melody in your head over and over and over and over. Like I remember, when you have, for example, a song like "Disaster" or something like that from the new album. Jonas will be like telling me like, "Kenny, I have this idea," and I'm like, "Okay," and he's like, faster, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's really cool. That's awesome." And then he goes. Uh, 2 days later, he's like, "Listen to this. This is like a complete demo, or whatever." So it's a very organic process, I would say, still. And we approached force majeure in a very similar way. I think that the difference between this album and force majeure is that we are no longer in this kind of new old uh, situation anymore. I've been again for about 5 years now already, because I rejoined in 2020. What I was saying was, I came back in 2020 to the band, and immediately we started working on force majeure. Everything was new, but everything was old at the same time, because we've been brothers since adolescent years. We've known each other since we were like 15, 16, and some guys go even further back. So, but force majeure was, in a way, I think, trying to live up to the kick-ass album that is H.E.A.T 2. H.E.A.T 2 is a fantastic album, and force majeure definitely had a little bit of that sort of brother, not fight, but you know what I mean. Like, and I think that Welcome to the Future is much more like, it doesn't really care. It's just what it is. It is exactly. It stands alone in its own merit. We just make music that we love, and if we like it, hopefully people out there are going to like it too. That is the approach that we've had to Welcome to the Future completely.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
well, according to your answer, and well, this created two questions about this one. The first one, so is about your return in from 2022 for first year, because as you said, you leave the band years ago, and then you decide
Yeah.
to return. So initially, what was the reason that you return, that you retire of the band or leave the band and then rejoin for force majeure?
So I left the band in a very sort of tumultuous time in my life.
Mhm.
I was going through some difficult moments. You know, I had recovered from a heart surgery that was bothering me at the time when I was a younger man. And then after that, it snowballed into this effect, and I felt like I was, out of shape. I wasn't maybe the front man that I had envisioned for my brothers in the band. So I felt like I wasn't capable of fronting Heat in the same way that I wanted to. So it was the choice for me at the time. Felt like I had to leave and give someone else, a chance and the opportunity for the guys to keep, to keep growing, to keep playing, and have fun. And that was the choice I made back then. Music left my heart for a brief period of time after that, for a few years, because it was like a breakup, with a wife or with something like that, like a relationship. So it
Okay.
was very hard for me for a time, and then I started writing music again
Mhm.
with Dave Alone, and I, got back in touch with some of the guys in the band, and we were hanging out, and we had good times, and I got inspired to start making music again, and eventually, a few years later, I released a solo album, which is more like a diary, you know, of
Mhm.
my life, those
Okay.
years away from Heat. And then subsequently, Eric Grönvall felt like he didn't want to be a part of the band anymore.
Mhm.
Um, so then the guys, their first thought was, we have to ask if Kenny wants to come back. Is like is the only option um, to continue this, and so that's what they did. Immediately, as soon as it was clear that Eric wanted to leave, they approached me and asked if I was interested in coming back. And of course, I felt like I was more than ready to come
Mhm.
back and front the band again. And for me, it was like a way to recapture a part of myself that had been lost ever since I left the band in the first place. So coming back to the band wasn't only something that I did um, musically. It was also a way for me to reconnect with my brothers and and to become complete as a person, because Heat is very much part of me. Part of my personality, of my what I have done in my life.
Mhm.
So and I think it's a beautiful thing, and I'm very thankful that I'm able to be back with my brothers and make music and perform and play the
Mhm.
music I love in front of people across the whole
Mhm.
world. It's
Mhm.
a privilege.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, that's the first major, and these albums are great ones, by the way. So, and one thing that captured my attention since you returned, because when obviously I'm following your career since the beginning to now. Just Hit Two has a different concept of the album, but first major at this Welcome to the Future, one thing that captured my attention is that you bring back like that concept, so like the 80s, because you are playing you are hard rock heavy metal band with the sound of the 80s, influence of the 80s, but your album calls Welcome to the Future. One thing that in 80s it was a for I was there, because when you talk about an album and a movie and a comic book, you want to say Welcome to the Future. There is a lot of things involved that you're expecting in the future. So that is why you decide to put Welcome to the Future with the same expectation that when I was a kid, when I read a book, Welcome to the Future, and So that is the concept
Yeah.
that we can relate to this Welcome to the Future.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, You know what I'm talking about
Mhm.
when I mention things like back in the 60s,
Mhm.
or sometimes even earlier, people would imagine flying cars.
Mhm.
People would imagine all kinds of crazy things.
Mhm.
We would be flying to other planets. We would be you know sending messages or beaming people from one place to another, like teleportation.
Mhm.
um, like, we are living in that future right
Mhm.
now. you know we
Mhm.
are exactly there. It's just that it's hard for us to put into to words what that really means, to appreciate what we are living through right now. You and
Mhm.
I having this conversation,
Mhm.
you're not here with me, but you're here with me at the same time. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
this is crazy. Like, 30, 40 years ago, who could ever have imagined that we would be sitting like this and having this conversation with each other, over some airwaves somewhere?
Mhm.
Like, it's crazy. So, Welcome to the Future is basically a reimagination of that same concept. Musically, we are living in that future where music and technology kind of comes together in a beautiful symphony, like it did back in the 80s, right?
Mhm.
And we are obviously very inspired by that, and
Mhm.
on all the concept art that comes with it. Part of the reason why the album cover for Welcome to the Future looks what it looks like. You know,
Mhm.
it's kind of like a continuation of that dream that people used
Mhm.
to have back in the days.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're trying to put that into our music. How do you do that? It's a very difficult, delicate concept, right?
Mm.
But we make an attempt with Welcome to the Future, and it's an album of discovery. In some ways, speaks about dystopian future. It speaks about a future that we are living in right now.
Mhm.
It also has, of course, some classic, party hits that you can
Mm.
expect from a band like Heat. But it's definitely a little bit more of a concept album than people are used to hearing with Heat, I think.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Now, what part of the promotion from this Welcome to Futures will be your upcoming Latin tour next month, or well, in May? So I
Yeah.
will travel to see you on my country. So that's why. So what? This is your first tour here in Latin America, on a full one especially. So how do you? What kind of presentation hit will bring to the Latin America? For example, because as you said, there is songs with Eric and songs with you. How do you mix all the concepts? Because mostly people here never saw you live, never saw you live
Yeah.
because there have the no, there's you are for more people you are a new band here in Latin America
Yeah.
because yeah, that's
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
this. So how do you mix in general your set list for these upcoming shows?
Well, I mean, the best way to do it, I think, is
Mhm.
to play some of the classic Heat songs that people may have heard, over the years, that people have grown to love. Because I know that there are fans in South America that have
Mhm.
listened to some songs with Heat the past, decades. Basically, we're coming up soon on 20 years with the band, and so the only thing that we can do is to try to play like a mix of some of the greatest hits, Heat songs, but also present some of the newest material that we play now. And of course, it's a delicate balance,
Mhm.
but we are not new to this. We've tackled many new markets before, and it's always such a fun time, and we are going to want to play lots of classic hits that people will recognize, that people will maybe have heard, and
Mhm.
rocked out to. before, because it's a basically it has to be a celebration
Mhm.
of the band that we are coming to play in some of these places for the very first time, you know. And so what do you do with that? Well, you obviously play some of the big hits and the music that people have heard, and try to connect with people, make new memories with the power of music. And that's what we want to do. We want to present everything that we are now, but also uh, invite people into the wonderful and crazy world of Heat. You know, whether it's 15 years ago, 10 years ago, you know, everything in between. We play a little bit of everything. We play music from the Eric Grönvall era. We play music from the very first era, the first couple of albums. You know, we had some really cool songs, and mixed with the contemporary stuff, mixed with the things that we play now, the music that we're releasing now. So, you know, it's going to be really, really special for us. We're going to bring an explosive show with lots of awesome little details. And, you know, I cannot express enough how excited we are to be able to come and play in some of these new cities and places in South America and make new memories with an audience that hasn't really seen us live yet. You know,
Mhm.
we want to really make a good impression, and create special
Mhm.
moments. You know, create new
No,
memories.
great, great. And one thing that you are telling me also, that's you will play here songs from the Eric from the from the era from Eric. But how do you handle this situation, apply? Because Eric has a different approach with his voice, and your approach is more hard. I like your voice because you're more some like tough guy. Even I think when previously when I enroll or when I try to prepare questions for this interview, I just when I
Yeah,
will meet Kenny will be a most a tough guy than than Eric. So how do you handle your tough voice with a well more melodic voice from Eric?
I think that it's like what you the only thing you can do is you can try to like approach the music that exists. You know, you have to have respect
Mhm.
for the songs, but you know, I'm very good friends with Eric.
Mhm.
You know, he's a brother of mine, just like the rest of the guys in the band, and I want to do his work justice, but I also want the fans to experience those songs with my voice. So it would be a mistake for me to try to sound like Eric. You know what I mean? I have to try to do the song as best as I can in the way that I know how to do it as well as possible.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, we are close to this interview, Kenny. And for this one, beyond of this upcoming Latin American tour, what kind of plans do you have for, in general, for Welcome to the Future? Perhaps you will prepare a new album. Who knows? You are working more tours, etc., etc. What kind of plans do you have for Hit and Welcome to the Future?
Well, I mean, we got lots of different things happening. We've got South America now,
Mhm.
like, and then we're gonna play in Madrid. We have a big show planned for Madrid on the 23rd of May. So that's right after we finish the South American tour, and then we are going to Japan to present the album and everything that's Heat. You know, we're gonna play in Japan, and then we are obviously playing on some different shows and festivals around Europe in summer. But we are also planning some further European tour, and you know, and other places in the world. It's a little bit too early for me to say right now, but we have a lot of things in store to sort of really come out and play a lot this year. So
Okay, okay. So one of the last questions I always when ask people like you are involved with the voice because I read a lot of people the backing vocals. You can see you know that Jeff Scott Soto talks about it, or a lot of musicians talks about the backing vocals that is needed when you have 15 dates, 20 dates in a row, and it's impossible to maintain the voice. because that is the the voice is one thing about the voice is that the special thing that is not like the guitar, like a drum. You get better, better, better. The voice is very
Mm.
sensitive for the age, for the time, for the cold, for the
Mm.
warm. It's very different. It's
Yeah,
an instrument, very difficult to maintain. It's a great instrument, but at the same time, it's
yeah,
the more delicate instrument. So how did you
yes.
work to maintain your voice during all presentation in 15 row in
I
15
mean,
gigs?
we never have. I mean, what you hear from me live, that is what you hear. We never have anything pre-recorded like that. It's my voice in that moment and nothing else, and I will never do anything else. If I have a cold or if I'm sick on a show, then that's what you're gonna get, you know. But it's like I will never ever try to give you a live show that isn't live, and
Mhm.
I have a tremendous respect for what it means to be a vocalist in a band like Heat. You have to try to, you know, take care of yourself and have respect for what it means to be singing every night and not take it for granted. You have to make sure to drink plenty of water, beer, uh, like you know, just whatever to keep yourself hydrated. You know, that's really important. And of course, you know, eat well and just yeah, like I said, you have to be a little bit have respect for your instrument. I guess it would be a little bit like saying to a guitar player, maybe it's not the best idea to deal with sharp tools. You know, maybe it's not the best because if you cut yourself or if you have an accident, then you can't play the guitar. The same is true for the voice. It's like, you know, if you play every day for, you know, 15 days, 20 days, you just have to prepare yourself, but not just in the voice but also in your mind. You know, you have to, like, because so much of singing, at least for me, it's not only from here, you know, it's the whole body, it's everything. Like when I sing, I use my whole body. I cannot just be standing in front of you and just go, you know, no 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 no, it doesn't work like that. I use my whole body and and mental preparation. I think to do the kind of singing that I like to do, you really have to use every inch of your body.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So, and when this question, and just to finalize this interview, so there's when I have friends that are vocalists here in my city, that I just try to maintain her voice, doing her exercises, etc. There is a myth. For me, there's a myth because I never see that. There, the myth is when you finalize a gig, you just drink warm water, just not drink beers. You need to keep maintain. Is this myth is true? You before you play, you didn't drink beer, or at the end of the concert, you didn't any kind of cold water,
No,
kind of stuff.
I think it's a I think it's a mental game. Honestly, like for me personally, when I finish a show, I love to have a beer or two, you know, just to relax. And it's you know, it's a like I said, it's a complicated instrument, right? Because it's so much more than just here. It's a mental game as well. If you run around and you're constantly worried, or you're having fear about losing your voice, or that you're not doing the right thing, maybe you need to drink warm water, you need to do all this shit. Okay, maybe there's a physical aspect of it that makes sense, but I think for me personally, it doesn't really stop me. My voice it seems to be able to survive a fucking nuclear bomb. It's for me, so much of it is mental. You have to stop obsessing with being, like, I think it's important to be a perfectionist. Okay, when you play live, of course you want to do the best, you want to be the best, but at the same time, people want you for you live. People want you to be you. People, if people want to hear perfection from you as a singer, fucking go listen to the album. right? It's right there. You did that on your best day, okay? But when you play live, it's a person standing in front of you, singing from the heart. It's not always going to be perfect, but it's in the moment. And if you can come to peace with that as a singer and just be like, if I make a mistake or if my voice fails a little bit, it doesn't matter. Just get away from that. People don't expect you to sing perfect every single night anyway. People just want you in the moment, to be there, to be present. And I think that is far more important than anything else.
Hmm. Okay, amazing, amazing. So that's good news. So, well, Kenny, we arrived to the sad moment of this interview. I hope you enjoyed this interview like me.
Yes,
Well, these
very much.
last two albums, First Miss You and Disney World Welcome to the Future, it's a great one. I did my pre-order for the last one. I hope to arrive soon. So here, and perhaps do you want to add something to your upcoming Latin American fans that expect your Latin tour here in May?
So I just want to finish by saying that I hope to see as many people as possible of our fans in South America. You know, it doesn't matter what country we're playing in a bunch of different countries, but I hope to see as many of you as possible, and keep supporting rock and roll music, whether it's heavy metal, hard rock, melodic rock. I don't care. Keep supporting the scene. Keep buying tickets if you can. Keep buying T-shirts if you can. Keep buying CDs, even if you don't have a CD player. Just do everything you can to support the scene of rock and roll music, because together, the more noise we make, the closer we're going to get to make rock and roll and the music that we love come back into the sort of where we want it to be. We want it to be enjoyed by people across the world and give it the attention it deserves, because it's one of the last standing traditions in music that's played by real people in front of people. And there's a magic behind that, right? We don't want that to die. You know, we want that to continue to flourish. And so yeah, I hope to see as many of the fans that love Heat for Heat, of course. But yeah, it's a celebration of everything that we stand for. You know, that sort of retro vibe, hard rock, melodic rock, metal music that we all love so much. And hopefully, we can be a part of the generation of bands that bring this back into center of attention.